You are listening to Jeremiah, a Walker Brothers novel, Seven Sons Ranch, in Three Rivers Romance, Book 4, written by Liz Isaacson, narrated by Teri Clark Linden, member SAG-AFTRA.
Chapter 1. Jeremiah Walker ignored Stoney's snuffle of displeasure as he strode past.
"I have to get to town, Stoney,"
he said over his shoulder, wondering when his life had been reduced to talking to horses. Oh, that was right. When Whitney had gone completely cold and silent on him. When Liam had moved in with his wife next door. When Micah had gone back to Temple and was still tying up loose ends.
"Skylar's coming home in a couple of days,"
Jeremiah yelled to the horse, happier about his brother returning to Seven Sons than he dared to admit. Wyatt had gone back to normal, and he still hadn't told anyone who he'd been sneaking off to see in the evenings. Jeremiah, of course, didn't ask. He was just glad he didn't have to spend his evenings alone anymore. Those couple of weeks in January had been dark, dark days for him. But with Skylar home, and Wyatt, Jeremiah had something to look forward to again. Rhett and Evelyn had taken a springtime trip to the Texas Hill Country to see the wildflowers bloom, and they'd be home by the time Skylar was, too. Jeremiah had been planning a feast for the past week, and he needed to get to town to get the groceries. Orion and Dickie, Simon and Wallace would handle all the chores on Wednesday, and Jeremiah would spend the day in the kitchen. Excitement ran through him, another indicator that his life had reached a low point. Who was actually excited to spend the day laboring in the kitchen? It wasn't his lowest point ever, and for that he was grateful. He showered quickly and swiped his truck keys from the peg by the door leading to the garage. He was the only one who parked in the garage, as he seemed to be the only permanent resident at the homestead. Wyatt had been there for 1.5 years now, though. Jeremiah wondered if he'd spend the rest of his life alone. When Laura Ann had left, he'd thought he would. But now, with some time and distance between where he was now and that terrible moment when he realized his fiancée wasn't going to come out and become his wife, he'd changed. Healed. Well, at least a little bit. His thoughts automatically betrayed him and went to Whitney Wilde. He may have put the truck into gear a little bit too hard with that woman in his mind, and he pressed his teeth together to get her to leave. 4 months. That was how long it had been since he'd heard from her. And her sudden disappearance from his life made no sense. She'd called him for a solid 6 months.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?